change as a matter of fact. Individual changes can be quite abrupt and obvious as when new words make an appearance and become popular. Normally, however, a language change is a gradual, almost imperceptible, as with the slow alterations in pronunciation when one generation speaks slightly differently from another. A small linguistic change may be evident in everyday experience, and people may notice and sometimes disapprove when words are used or pronounced in different ways. Discussion of the passage will go beyond the scope of this introduction, but it is evident that only a small number of words of the mother language still carry obvious traces of their heredity. Looking at a particular language over a longer period of time, it becomes apparent that language change does not result in different distinct stages of a language, but in a historical continuum, so that speakers easily understand the language of the generations immediately before and after them, but with increasing difficulty in understanding chronologically remote stage of their language. Attitudes to language change. Language is so closely associated with social identity that it's not surprising that people have strong feelings about it. Language change can be unsettling, and with widespread attitude is to see it as a change for the worse. Speakers of different periods and cultures have often tended to think that their own language is inferior to that of their forebears. Language change is a matter of decline or decay. In some societies, this attitude can be traced back to the biblical account of the Tower of Babel. Here the change from one common language to a diversity of different languages is presented as divine punishment for sinful behavior. Modern linguistics, past and present, have been separated into different areas of inquiry. It has been a common assumption that synchronic linguistics, which concerns itself with the state of language at a given time, in a particular, the present, is most commonly carried out in disregard of the findings of historical or diachronic linguistics about the process of language development over time. On the one hand, the synchronic study of linguistic systems can provide insights that can be used in reconstructing their past. On the other hand, we should also recognize that the implied assumption that synchronic linguistic systems are completely systematic, static, and homogeneous is a fiction. All of them are in some respects unsystematic, the numerous irregular relics of early systems, the exceptions to the rule, which are simply inexplicable in synchronic terms, can only be explained by reference to past states and developments. The unstable stage of a language at any given point of time is the consequence of historical process, and its very instability is evidence that this process continues to operate in the present. Aims and scope of historical linguistics. Number 1. The study of the history of particular language on the basis of existing written data. Number 2. The study of the prehistory of language by means of comparative reconstruction, whereby the unrecorded past is inferred of the evidence of the data that are available from a later period. Number 3. The study of ongoing change in a language, example, change happening at the present time. The data of historical linguistics. The synchronic description of living language is the present can be based on a wide range of data, such as the introspection of the linguistic as a native speaker, the guide elicitation of data from native informants, and observation, including the use of corpora. The written evidence. Written texts provide the most important data for historical linguistics, and it is a crucial matter how these data are interpreted accepted as evidence for early spoken language as well as for linguistic systems. The deciphering of extinct language writing in such systems often depends on the existence of bi or trilingual texts in which at least one of the language is known. Source of evidence. The hypothesis of the historical linguistics depends crucially on the interpretation of the data. It is not just a matter of the amount of data available, but primarily of their quality. To evaluate the quality of all texts, we have to find out as much as possible about their extra-linguistic context and about the textual tradition, including the original form and date of composition and copying. This is a task of philologists, for whom auxiliary disciplines such as history and paleography, the study of ancient writing, are of major importance. Comparing and restructuring language. Family tree of Germanic language. Proto-Germanic, West Germanic, North Germanic, East Germanic. West Germanic, Dutch, English, Frisian, High German, Low German. North Germanic, Danish, Icelandic, Norwegian, Swedish. East Germanic, Gothic. Laws of change. In the restriction of linguistic relationships and developments, we identify certain processes of change that are so regular as to be considered laws. One of these is evident in the development of the Germanic branch of Indo-European. The Germanic language shows a series of distinctive and related sound change involving certain Indo-European consonants.
Okay, we are going to talk about the unit 3, that is words and sentences. 3.1 The structure of words. Morphology is the study of the structure. Approach divides the field into two domains, lexical or derivation morphology to dominate. For example, lexical or derivational morphology studies the way in which new items of vocabulary can be built up out of the combination of elements. Inflectional morphology studies the way words vary in their form in order to express a grammatical contrast. And then an essential first step is to be able to describe the elements out of which words can be constructed. For example, my words cannot be broken down into grammatical parts. For example, boy, a, yes, person, elephant, problem. These words are said to consist only of a base form. All we can do in such case is describe what the words mean and how they are pronounced or spelled, such as the number of syllables they have or the pattern of vowels and consonant they display.
3.11 Adjectives. The long and the short of it. Adjectives on one syllable usually take the inflection from, for example, big, thin, small, long, fat, red. But there are exceptions, for example, red, right, and road. Do not allow red, brownish, etc. Nor do participle along and deflation when they are used as adjectives. Adjectives of three syllables or more use only the peripatetic form. We do not say beautifuler or interesting, but here two three are exceptions. For example, a few three syllable adjectives which begin with do allow the inflection, as in the case of in healthier and unhappiest. The chief problems arise with two syllable adjectives, many of which permit both from and comparisons that chimera get place. A few such as proper and eager are straightforward. They do not allow inflation that I.
Okay, then we have the topic of testing comparison. An item from a screening test designed to assess the language ability of 3 to 5-year old children. This particular item tries to elicit the child's awareness of comparative and superlative forms. Then we have irregulars. There are very few irregular comparative forms, but the ones there are do occur quite frequently. Better and best are the comparison forms of good. Worse and worst are the comparison form of bad. Far has two forms, like fortune, fortest, and father fartest. All has regular forms of it. Also an irregular when talking about family members.
3.13 Nouns case. There are only two cases left in modern English. A common case where the noun has not ending at all and the genitive is formed by adding as an s to the singular form of the noun.
3.1.4 Verbs. The base form a form with no endings as listed in a dictionary, for example, sometimes called the infinitive form, like go, see, remember, provide. The S form made by adding an es, ending to the base, sometimes with a spelling change. Used for the third person singular in the present tense, like Helshel sees. The ing form or ing participle made by adding ing to the base, often with a spelling change, run, ing, jumping, going. The ad form made by adding ed of the base, often with a spelling change. This ending is found in the past form and in the ed participle form.
The irregular verbs. There are two main features of regular lexical verbs, both of which pose writing problems of young children. I know. 3.2 Word placed. The traditional grammar of English followed an approach which can be traced back. The Latin agreed that three were eight parts of a speech in English: the noun, pronoun, adjective, verb, adverb, preposition, conjunction, and interjection.
3.2.1 Class continues. It is not possible to tell which word class a word belongs to use by looking at it. We need to look carefully at how it behaves in a sentence. The word brown, for example, has three grammatic clauses, like as an adjective when it is used in such context was I bought a brown car and my arms are brown. As a verb when it is used in such context as a pocketed the brown. As a verb when it is used in such context as the toes got brown nicely. Some words have even more uses. For example, round has a vibe as an adjective, noun, verb, and preposition.
Some new word placed. When we look carefully at the way words behave in the sentences, the difference can't strike you as much as the similarities. Many words indeed turn out to be unique. For example, there is not other word in the language which has exactly the same format properties a house, with its idiosyncratic way of forming a plural.
3.2.2 The class of nouns. When we look at the way nouns behave, we find that the following factors are involved. For example, syntactic structures is a noun is the chief item of a noun phrase. As in the new telephones, it is often preceded by one of a small class of determiners, such as the or same. syntactic function. A noun function as a subject, object, or complement of a clause. As in apple are popular, I like apples, those objects are apples. Grammatical formology. A noun can be formed by adding one of a small list of suffixes to a verb or another noun. Count and noun. Count nouns. Common nouns can be divided into two types. Count nouns refer to individual, countable entities such as books, eggs, and horse. Non-count nouns refer to undifferentiated mass of notions such as verb, music, and advice. Count nouns cannot stand alone in the singular. Non-count nouns can. Count nouns allow a plural. Non-count nouns do not. Count nouns occur in the singular without. Non-count nouns with some.
3.2.3 The class of pronouns. Pronouns are words which stand for a noun, a word, noun, or several noun verbs. They can also refer directly to some aspect of the situation surrounding the speaker or writer, replacing a noun paragraph. Types of pronouns. Personal pronouns are the main means of identifying speakers, address, and author. For example, I, you, he, she, it, we, they. Reflective pronouns always ended in sub or suffix reflect the meaning of a noun or pronoun elsewhere in the clause. They washed themselves. Possessive pronouns express ownership and appear in two forms. My, for example, my, your, etc. are used as determinants in the noun paragraphs, as in my car, her bike.
3.2.4 The class of adjectives. Words which express some feature or quality of a noun or pronoun are traditionally known as adjectives. To decide if a word is an adjective, several criteria are viable. An adjective can occur immediately before a noun, a big house. This calls the adjective's attribute function. An adjective can occur alone after forms of the verb be. The house was big. This is the adjective predicate function. An adjective can be immediately preceded by very and other intensifying words. Big, terrible, nice. An adjective can be compared bigger, biggest, more, most beautiful.
3.2.5 The class of adverbs. The adverb is the most heterogeneous of all the word classes in English grammar. Over the years, words have been assigned to it which performs a wide variety of functions within the sentence.
3.2.6 The class of verbs. A sentence may contain a single verb, or it may use a cluster of verbs which work together as a verb phrase. For example, I see an elephant. You didn't see one? They couldn't have seen one. The last two examples show a main verb accompanied by one or more auxiliary verbs. What is a lexical verb? Are those with a meaning that can be clearly and independently identified, such as run, jump, walk, want, go, yet. They act as main verbs. And what is modal verbs? Convey a round of judgments about the likelihood of events. They function only as auxiliary verbs expressing meanings which are much less definable, focused, and independent than those of lexical verbs. Primary verbs can be function captured as main verbs or as auxiliary verbs. There are just three of them, like, be, have, and do. What is main verb use? She are happy. She has a dog. They do some auxiliary verbs use they are going. She was being seated. Do they go? Finite and non-finite. The forms of the verb and the paras they are part of are usually classified into two broad types. Definite forms are those which limit the verb to a particular number, tense person or mode. The non-finite forms do not limit the verb in this way. For example, when the ing form is used, the verb can be referring to any number, tense person or mode. I'm leaving, that is first person, singular and present. They're leaving, that is third person, plural and present. He was leaving, third person, singular and past. Here we can see that we use ing.
3.2.7 The class of preposition. A preposition expresses a relationship of meaning between two parts of a sentence, most often showing how the two parts are related in space or time.
3.
We said a preposition consists of only one word. They have no distinctive ending and do not vary.
3.2.8 The class of conjunction. Conjunction are items which join clause or parts of clause together, coordinating. Conjunction link units which have the same status in the sentence, such as two clauses, two nouns paras or two clauses, two main paras or two adjectives. The chief items are and or add not but, and there are a few pairs. Subordinate conjunction join units which do not have the same grammatical status in the sentence.
3.3 The structure of sentence. The study of sentence structure is called sentence, and because this is so little variation in grammatical structure of English words and sentence analysis forms the dominant element in a modern English grammar.
Sentence. The sentence is probably the most familiar of all grammatical terms. There are many sentences which seem to express a single thought, but two which are not complete by traditional standards. For example, lovely day, taxi, nice one, tennis. There are also many sentences which are complete but express more than one thought. For this birthday, Ben wants a bike, a computer game, and a visit to the theme park. The formal approach to English grammar, by contrast, tries to avoid this kind of difficulty by describing the way in which sentences are constructed, the partners of words they contain.
Spoken and written syntax. One of the legacies of traditional grammar is the view that spoken language has less grammar because it does not follow the rules which are found in writing. There are indeed many differences between the two types of communication. Purity it at its samples. Do we speak in sentence? The answer is that we do. We do, but the kind of sentences organization we find in the speech is rather different from that found in writing, as the first transcriptions.
Types of sentence. Regular sentences are often referred to as a major sentence, irregular ones a minor sentence. What is a major sentence? The major sentences are in the vast majority. The following examples show some of the possibility. We have here some examples that is, the visitor brought a book for you. I gave the letter to Mary. Mary see Jane today. 3.
Simple and multiple sentence. The difference between simple and multiple sentences can be seen in the following two examples. A book has fallen on John's foot. A book has fallen on John's foot and book has fallen on Mary's foot.
Minor sentence. Minor sentences are not constructed in a regular way. They use abnormal patterns which cannot be clearly analyzed in the sequence of clause elements, as can major sentence. For example, how do you manage the writing?
3.3.2 Levels of sentence structure. A level is way of recognizing the fact that sentence is not simple linear string of it. Written items are grouped together into units, which then work as worded in relation to other units. Adult native speakers do not have to be told that these units. Adult native speakers do not have to be told that this unit exists. They know that they do subconsciously as a result of learning the language. 3.3.3 Sentence functions. Traditional grammar recognizes four types of sentence functions: statement, question, command, and exclamation. Some modern grammars, especially those which work within a framework of speech act, recognize a much larger range of functions.
3.3.4 Clause elements. Our clauses are made up of elements, each expressing a particular kind of meaning. Traditional grammars recognize two main elements which they call the subject and the predicate. These make a useful starting point for sentence analysis further in order to distinguish several very different kinds of construction.
3.3.5 Paragraphs. Paragraphs are traditionally classified into types based on the most important word they contain. If this is a note, for example, the paragraphs will be called a note paragraphs. If an adjective paragraphs, and so on. Six word class notes are found as the identify elements of paragraph construction.
Pronoun paragraphs are restricted to a small number of constructions and tend not to be recognized as a product type in English. Adverb paragraphs are typically found as short identifying expressions such as terrible, slowly, and very happily ended. Active paragraphs are usually combination of an adjective and preceding noun. Pronoun paragraphs are restricted to a small number of constructions and tend not to be recognized as a product type in English. Other paragraphs are typically found as short intensifying expressions such as terrible, slowly, and very happily ended. Adjective paragraphs are usually combination of an adjective and preceding intensifier, such as very happy and not too awkward. Verb paragraphs display very limited syntactic possibilities and main verb preceded by up to four auxiliaries, as in may have one and one have been listening. Prepositional paragraphs are combination of a preposition, clause, and noun paragraphs in the back garden beneath the hedge.
Articles. The article system is a good example of the subject meanings which the note paragraphs can express.